If I followed you for 24 hours, I could tell you where your life will be in the next 5 years. Not by what you wish for, but by what you repeat. You can't hide your habits. They always tell the truth about your future. So the real question is, what are you rehearsing every day, success or struggle? Because your routine is already casting the vote. Most people don't lose to a lack of talent, they lose to a lack of routine. The difference between the rich and everyone else isn't in the hours they have, it's in what they do with those hours. You see, success doesn't visit the lucky, it visits the consistent. While most wait for motivation, the wealthy have built habits that don't need it. Every fortune begins quietly, in the small daily disciplines that no one applauds. The question is, what are you doing every day when no one's watching? Because that's where wealth begins to whisper your name. If you want to know how a person's life will turn out, just watch how they live their days. Because a day, my friends, is a snapshot of your future. Every fortune, every empire, every legacy, they were not built in decades. They were built in the daily, ordinary hours that most people overlook. See, wealth doesn't come from big decisions alone. It comes from 1,000 small disciplines that add up over time. Your habits are the architects of your destiny. The way you handle a single day determines the quality of your future years. Now, most people let their days happen to them. They drift. They wake up when they have to, rush through tasks, react to problems, and by night, they wonder why nothing is changing. But the rich, the truly successful, don't live that way. They design their days the way an artist designs a masterpiece. Every hour has a purpose. Every decision has intention, because they understand something simple but profound. A wasted day is a lost opportunity to build the future you say you want. Let me tell you something I learned early in my career. When I was broke, I used to say, I'll work hard when I get the big opportunity. But the big opportunity never came because I hadn't yet learned to treat the small ones with respect. Then I met a mentor who told me, don't start by changing your life, start by changing your day. That was the revelation. I started waking up earlier, writing down my plans, reflecting on my actions at night, and protecting my first hour like a treasure. Within months, my income changed, my confidence changed, and my results followed. You see, the rich don't spend their days, they invest them. They treat time like capital, and every morning is a chance to multiply it. The first hour of your day, that's sacred. It decides whether you spend the next 23 reacting or creating. Start it with clarity, not chaos. End your day with reflection, not distraction. Ask yourself each night, did I live today in alignment with the life I want to build? Because success doesn't suddenly arrive, it's revealed, one well-invested day at a time. Treat every sunrise as a down payment on your future, and every sunset as your report card. If you want to understand why some people always seem to win, in business, in money, in life, look at their mornings. Because mornings, my friends, are the birthplace of destiny. You can't build a successful life on a lazy morning. The rich win the day before it begins. They understand that how you start determines how you finish. While most people let the alarm clock dictate their discipline, the wealthy use that same hour to command their direction. When I was younger, I used to wake up just in time to get where I needed to go, always rushing, always reacting. But then I met a man whose success I deeply admired, and he told me something simple. Your morning is your foundation. Build it strong, and the rest of the day will stand firm. From that moment, I stopped treating mornings as a race and started treating them as a ritual. Because if you win the first hour, you win the next 23. The morning is your time to design the mental state that will drive every decision you make that day. It's when your mind is quiet, your focus is pure, and your energy is untapped. And what do most people do with it? They trade it for distraction, news, noise, or notifications. But not the rich. The rich guard that hour like treasure. They read something that feeds the mind, wisdom, not gossip. They move their body to awaken focus and energy, and before the world interrupts, they reconnect with their financial goals. Not in panic, but in purpose. Let me tell you, that small discipline to review your goals before the world demands your attention, that's the habit that turns wanderers into winners. Because the moment you remind yourself what you're working for, you begin to act in alignment with it. When your mornings are built with intention, your day becomes a mirror of that clarity. You make sharper decisions, you carry yourself with conviction, and opportunities seem to meet you halfway. It's not about waking up early just for the sake of it. It's about waking up ready to think, ready to grow, ready to lead your life before life leads you. Success doesn't start at the office or in the market. It starts the moment your feet hit the floor. Guard that time, build that routine, because your morning discipline will quietly write the story of your financial destiny. Let me tell you something that changed the way I live my life. Success doesn't start in the morning, it starts the night before. Most people end their day with television, noise, or worry, and then they wonder why they wake up tired and scattered. The truth is, tomorrow begins when today ends. The rich know that preparation is the bridge between intention and execution. You can't wake up with purpose if you go to bed with confusion. When I was broke and struggling, I used to fall asleep thinking about what I didn't accomplish. I would tell myself, I'll figure it out tomorrow. But that was the problem. I was always figuring it out tomorrow. Then I learned that the mind is like soil. Whatever you plant before you sleep, it grows overnight. So, I began a new ritual. Before my head hit the pillow, I would write down 3 things I wanted to accomplish the next day. Not 30, just 3. Because clarity beats chaos every single time. It's not the length of your to-do list that determines success. It's the clarity of your direction. Those 3 priorities became my compass. When I woke up, I already knew where my energy was going. There was no wasted time trying to decide, no confusion stealing my focus. And let me tell you, when you start your day with that kind of certainty, you feel unstoppable. Preparation also eliminates one of the biggest thieves of progress, decision fatigue. Every morning, people spend their best mental energy on small things. What to wear, what to eat, what to do first. But the wealthy, they prepare it all the night before. Their clothes, their schedule, even their thoughts are in order. By the time morning comes, they're not reacting, they're executing. And at the end of the day, reflection is the final piece. Before you sleep, ask yourself, what did I learn today that makes me wiser tomorrow? Because success isn't just about doing more, it's about becoming more. Each night, I would jot down 1 lesson. Sometimes it was about people, sometimes about money, sometimes about myself. Over the years, those little lessons became the foundation of my philosophy. So, don't let tomorrow surprise you. Plan it, prepare it, shape it tonight. Because when you go to sleep with purpose, you wake up with power. The rich don't start their day by guessing. They start it by executing a plan they wrote the night before. If there's one truth that separates the wealthy from the wishful, it's this. The rich don't just manage money, they protect their time, because time is the real currency of life. You can lose money and make it back. You can lose a deal, an investment, even a career, and start again. But once an hour is gone, it's gone forever. You can't save it, borrow it, or trade for more. And yet, it's the one thing most people spend carelessly. When I was young, I used to say yes to everything, every meeting, every favor, every distraction that came my way. I thought being busy was being productive, but busyness is not business. One day my mentor told me, "Your calendar will tell me your future." That hit me hard. I realized I wasn't spending time, I was spilling it. So I began to treat every hour like it was money in a bank. And here's the secret. Millionaires guard their time the way bankers guard vaults. They decide who and what gets access. Every yes you give is a no to something else, something more valuable. If you say yes to every distraction, you say no to your dreams. So you must schedule your priorities, not prioritize your schedule. Write down what matters most: your work, your learning, your rest, your family, and give each its own space. When they compete for time, chaos begins. But when they're planned, balance returns. And here's another rule. Eliminate low-value tasks. Don't spend major time on minor things. If something doesn't move you closer to your goal, delegate it, automate it, or delete it. The wealthy know that energy follows attention, and attention is a limited resource. You must direct it like a laser, not scatter it like confetti. I also learned to build boundaries around my time. I created focus hours when no phone could interrupt, no call could distract, no noise could enter. And then I created recharge hours, time for silence, reflection, or connection with loved ones. Because rest is not a reward, it's a responsibility. A tired mind makes expensive mistakes. Protecting your time doesn't make you selfish, it makes you strategic. The poor spend time like it's free. The wealthy invest it like it's gold. Every moment you save and spend wisely compounds into a future others only dream about. So, guard your time like treasure, because it is. One of the biggest differences between the successful and the struggling is that the successful don't rely on mood, they rely on routine. Because let's be honest, if you only act when you feel like it, you'll rarely feel like it. Success doesn't come to those who wait for inspiration. It comes to those who create structure. The rich have learned that emotions make poor masters but excellent servants. So instead of waiting for motivation, they build systems that carry them through the days when motivation is nowhere to be found. When I first began my journey of change, I had a big dream to live better, earn more, and become someone of value. But every morning, I had to fight the same battle between how I felt and what I knew needed to be done. Some mornings, I felt tired. Some evenings, I felt uninspired. But then I discovered something powerful. Routine is stronger than emotion. Once something becomes a habit, you don't negotiate with it anymore. You just do it. That's how the rich operate. They don't wake up and ask, "Do I feel like working today?" Or "Do I feel like saving money today?" They follow a plan. They have fixed hours for deep work, learning, and self-development. Their calendar dictates their actions, not their moods. Because once you schedule discipline, you no longer depend on inspiration. You see, the human mind loves patterns. It loves predictability. So, you can use this to your advantage. Create triggers that help you enter your productive state. It might be a cup of coffee at the same time each morning, a particular song that signals focus, or a specific workspace that tells your mind it's time to build. Over time, your mind associates those cues with action. You won't need to talk yourself into discipline. Your environment will do it for you. And here's a secret I've seen among the wealthy. They track their consistency like it's currency. They measure streaks, not just for exercise or savings, but for anything that matters. Every day you repeat a positive habit, your self-trust grows stronger. Confidence isn't built by winning big once, it's built by keeping promises to yourself daily. So, stop waiting for the perfect mood, build the perfect routine, Let your habits lead when your emotions hesitate. Because when your systems become stronger than your feelings, your results become inevitable. Wealth doesn't respond to moods, it responds to consistency. One of the great secrets of wealth, one rarely talked about, is that rest is not the opposite of work. Rest is the partner of work. You see, most people burn out not because they work too much, but because they never truly recover. They confuse movement with progress. They stay busy instead of productive. But the wealthy, the truly successful, they understand that rest is a strategy. It's part of performance, not a reward for it. When I was younger, I thought success meant working harder than everyone else. Longer hours, fewer breaks, constant motion. But I learned that you can't pour from an empty cup. You can't think clearly when your mind is tired, and you can't make sound financial decisions when your spirit is exhausted. The rich protect their clarity the way they protect their capital, because clarity multiplies everything it touches. That's why they don't just schedule work, they schedule renewal. Every day needs a rhythm, a pulse between intensity and recovery. Think of it like breathing. Inhale work, exhale rest. Both are essential. The problem is, most people only inhale. They work, worry, hustle, grind, and wonder why life feels suffocating. The rich, on the other hand, design routines that restore them. They sleep like it's sacred, not optional. They walk, read, reflect, and practice gratitude. Not because it looks nice on paper, but because it recharges the energy that builds empires. When I travel and meet successful business leaders, I notice they guard their time for renewal fiercely. They take time for silence, for family, for reflection. They understand that creativity doesn't come from chaos, it comes from space. Sometimes the best thing you can do for your future is to unplug, turn off the noise, step away from the constant flow of information. Let your mind breathe. So, sleep your full 7 or 8 hours, not because you're lazy, but because a clear mind makes faster progress. Take time each day to walk, to think, to be thankful. Read something that nourishes your spirit. And most importantly, disconnect from screens, from noise, from comparison. When you return, you'll notice that your ideas are sharper, your decisions wiser, and your patience deeper. Remember, wealth is not built by running endlessly. It's built by running wisely, and wisdom knows when to pause. Rest doesn't slow your progress. It sustains it. The rich don't just work harder, they recover better. Consistency is one of those invisible forces that separates the wealthy from the rest. Most people chase intensity, thinking that one big effort, one long night, or one bold gamble will change everything. But real wealth, the kind that lasts, doesn't come from bursts of effort. It comes from repetition, from doing the small right things every single day until they compound into something extraordinary. The secret of the rich is that they treat habits like deposits in a bank. Each disciplined action is an investment that grows interest over time. I remember when I first started my own journey in business. I wasn't the smartest, nor the most talented. What set me apart was showing up every day, doing the things I said I would, and tracking my progress. I read, I networked, I saved, I learned, not in huge leaps, but in inches, and over months and years, those inches added up. The power of consistency transformed my small steps into financial and personal freedom I had once only dreamed about. The strategy is simple. Pick the few habits that matter most to your wealth. Whether it's reading a chapter of a financial book, saving a percentage of income, or reviewing your investments weekly, focus on doing these repeatedly for 90 days. Track them. Reward yourself for showing up, not just for achieving a milestone. Momentum is the invisible partner of wealth. Once you begin, it gathers speed, making your efforts feel almost effortless. Think of consistency as the compound interest of life. One disciplined action might seem insignificant today, but when repeated day after day, week after week, it multiplies beyond imagination. The rich know that momentum is built quietly, unseen by others, and then one day, it appears as a breakthrough. The magic isn't in luck. It's in the faithful repetition of simple, smart actions. Remember, consistency turns small seeds into towering trees, small drops into overflowing rivers. Commit to your daily disciplines, honor them even when you don't feel like it, and trust the process. In the end, it's the patient, consistent actions that create wealth that lasts a lifetime. Managing money is not something you do once a month or when a crisis appears. True wealth is built when you make financial awareness a daily habit, just like brushing your teeth or making your bed. The rich understand that small lapses in attention compound into large losses over time, while consistent vigilance compounds into freedom, security, and opportunity. When I first began my journey, I realized quickly that I couldn't grow wealth if I didn't understand where it was going. Every dollar needed a purpose, every expense a reason, and every investment a plan. The philosophy is simple. Wealth begins with awareness. If you cannot manage a dollar, you will never manage a million. It's not about obsessing or worrying. It's about creating a daily ritual that keeps you connected to your financial reality. By dedicating even 10 minutes each day to tracking expenses, reviewing investments, or simply checking your accounts, you build a habit that protects your money and informs your decisions. Knowledge is power, but habitual knowledge becomes muscle memory for financial freedom. The strategy is to treat your money like a business. In business, you review reports daily, monitor cash flow, and adjust before small problems become big ones. Your personal finances deserve the same attention. Each day, glance over your spending, notice patterns, and ask, is this money serving me or distracting me? Each week, take a deeper look at your cash flow and investments, ensuring your resources are working for you, not the other way around. Making money management a daily ritual also changes your mindset. You start to see dollars as tools rather than just numbers, and opportunities become clearer. Over time, small daily acts of financial discipline compound into significant advantage. Just as consistent exercise strengthens the body, consistent attention strengthens your financial muscles. Wealth isn't a one-time event. It's a life lived with awareness, habit, and purpose. Make money management a daily ritual. Let it become automatic, natural, and non-negotiable. This is how small, daily habits transform into lasting wealth. Saving is often misunderstood as a sacrifice, a restriction on life's pleasures, or a punishment for earning. But those who understand wealth know that saving is not about limiting yourself. It's about creating freedom. Every dollar set aside today is a seed for options tomorrow. The rich see savings as empowerment, not austerity. When I first started, I realized that financial freedom wasn't about how much I earned, but how much I retained and allowed to grow. Discipline in small, consistent acts of saving transforms into choices, flexibility, and peace of mind over time. The philosophy is clear. Discipline today creates options tomorrow. Paying yourself first ensures that you prioritize your future self before the world claims your earnings. If you wait until after bills and pleasures, too often there is nothing left. Wealth is built by deciding that your future matters as much as your present. Each deposit into savings or investments is a declaration that you value freedom more than fleeting indulgence. The strategy is simple but powerful. Make saving a routine, automatic, and non-negotiable. Treat it as a bill, a fixed commitment that precedes all other spending. Automate 15-20% of your income to flow directly into savings or investments. Don't view it as money you're losing. View it as money that is working for you while you sleep. The consistency of small, disciplined deposits compounds into wealth far beyond what sporadic splurges or windfalls can achieve. Practically, track your progress monthly. Observe how incremental contributions grow over time. Celebrate milestones, because these are tangible reminders that freedom is being built. Over time, what once felt like a restriction becomes a source of confidence. Even modest, regular savings eventually open doors to opportunities, investments, business ventures, or unexpected emergencies without fear or stress. The routine of saving turns income into empowerment, creating a life where choices are yours, not dictated by circumstance. Make saving a ritual. Let it be daily, automatic, and purposeful. It is the foundation of wealth, the engine of freedom, and the habit that separates those who live paycheck to paycheck from those who live with financial independence. Too often, people believe that sheer effort is the key to wealth, that the more hours you work, the richer you become. Yet, I've discovered that labor without thought is like running on a treadmill. You're moving, but you're not getting anywhere. True wealth is multiplied not by harder work, but by smarter thinking. The rich understand this principle. Time spent in strategy yields far greater returns than time spent in relentless activity without direction. In my early years, I would pour hours into tasks, only to realize that a little time planning would have doubled my results. The philosophy is simple. You cannot outwork the world, but you can outthink it. Working hard without planning is blind effort. If your actions are not guided by reflection, measurement, and refinement, you risk repeating mistakes and missing opportunities. Strategy is the lens through which effort turns into results. Every successful individual I've known, the millionaires, the business leaders, dedicate time to think. They evaluate their progress, spot inefficiencies, and make deliberate choices about where their energy will create the highest return. The strategy is clear. Carve out daily blocks of time solely for thinking, planning, and reviewing. Consider it as important as any meeting or task. Spend 30 minutes each day on high-level reflection, evaluating what worked, what wasted time, and what can be improved. These sessions are not about busy work or distraction, but about alignment, ensuring your daily actions move you toward meaningful wealth, not just activity. Practically, review your results consistently. Ask yourself, which actions produced real value? Which consumed energy without return? Adjust accordingly. Small, regular refinements compound, turning modest efforts into substantial outcomes over months and years. This is the multiplier effect of strategy. A single hour of deliberate thought can prevent wasted days of labor and uncover opportunities invisible to a reactive mind. Remember, wealth grows where strategy improves. Labor is necessary, but thought is powerful. Guard your time for reflection and planning as fiercely as you guard your money. Make strategy a daily ritual, and you'll discover that wealth is not merely a product of effort, but of intelligent, deliberate action. Too many people think that wealth comes from putting money into things they barely understand. I've learned over the years that rushing into investments without knowledge is like sailing a ship without a map. Eventually, you'll run aground. The true path to financial success begins long before a dollar is spent. It begins with time invested in understanding. Knowledge compounds just as money does, and the early hours spent learning often save thousands in mistakes later. I recall when I first considered investing in the stock market, instead of buying on a whim, I spent months studying, reading reports, and simulating trades on paper. That preparation transformed uncertainty into confidence. The philosophy is clear. The poor invest before they learn. The wealthy learn before they invest. Wealth grows from understanding, not impulsivity. Time spent researching markets, understanding risk, and observing trends is never wasted. It is the quiet foundation upon which sustainable wealth is built. Rushing to commit money without insight is the fastest way to frustration, loss, and regret. Investing time first is like laying solid bricks before building a house. Without a foundation, everything crumbles. The strategy is deliberate. Make studying an ongoing, structured habit. Dedicate time each week to mastering an investment area, whether it's real estate, stocks, digital ventures, or business. Read, watch, simulate, and analyze outcomes. Test ideas on paper before committing actual capital. This disciplined approach allows mistakes to be learning experiences without financial consequence. Practically, commit to a monthly knowledge goal. Read one book, complete one course, or analyze one market in depth. Simulate investment decisions and track hypothetical results. Seek guidance only from those who have demonstrated success, not from well-meaning but inexperienced voices. By investing time first, your eventual financial investments will be informed, strategic, and far more likely to grow. Remember, money follows understanding. Time spent learning is the truest investment you can make, and when you finally put your dollars to work, they will work smarter because you work wiser. Too many people let their money sit idle, hoping it will somehow grow by itself. I've learned over the years that wealth only expands when it receives attention and deliberate action. Money, like a garden, needs tending. You water it, prune it, and reinvest its fruits to see it flourish. Ignoring your finances is a slow drain, while regular review and reinvestment compounds results in ways that seem almost magical over time. The philosophy is simple yet profound. Money grows through attention. What you monitor expands. When I began my journey, I noticed how easy it was to spend windfalls, bonuses, dividends, profits from small ventures, on momentary pleasures. But the moment I committed to reinvesting them systematically, wealth began to compound and accelerate. Watching money work for me rather than merely being spent transformed my perspective. This is the quiet power of compound interest multiplied by consistency. The strategy is deliberate. Set aside time at regular intervals to evaluate your assets, profits, and cash flow. Treat your finances like a business that requires quarterly check-ins, not as a casual hobby. Reinvest every dividend, bonus, and profit. Let money earn money. Adjust your allocations as your income grows, ensuring your resources are always aligned with your long-term goals. This is not speculation. It is disciplined stewardship. Practically, dedicate a specific day each quarter to conduct a wealth review. Examine each investment. Is it performing? Is it aligned with your goals? Is there an opportunity to reinvest or reallocate? Treat reinvestment as non-negotiable. It is the fastest route to multiplying your assets. Keep a journal or spreadsheet to track progress, celebrate the growth, and identify areas for improvement. The rich do not leave money to chance. They actively manage it, reinvest it, and ensure it compounds. By giving your wealth your attention and strategy, you transform passive income into a living, growing system. Remember, money that sleeps produces little, but money that is monitored, adjusted, and reinvested becomes an unstoppable engine of freedom. Money speaks a language, and like any language, fluency comes from daily practice. If you want to truly understand wealth, It isn't enough to occasionally read a book or glance at your bank account. You have to immerse yourself in it day after day, letting the principles, stories, and lessons seep into your thinking until they become second nature. I've seen it in my own life. When I first began to study how money works, I didn't understand much. I was trying to make it, spend it, and survive with it. But the moment I began dedicating just a small portion of each day to learning about wealth, everything started to shift. I began to see patterns, opportunities, and behaviors that separated those who accumulated real freedom from those who only labored endlessly. The strategy is simple but profound. Commit a small, manageable amount of time every single day to the study of wealth. This could mean reading a case study on how a successful entrepreneur scaled a business, examining the trends in financial markets, or listening to stories of people who turned modest investments into lasting fortune. By exposing yourself to these lessons consistently, you start recognizing the underlying principles, the compounding power of patience, the importance of multiple income streams, and the behaviors that create long-term security. These are not things you memorize once. They are practices you internalize. On a practical level, begin by setting aside just 15 minutes a day. 15 minutes might sound trivial, but as I've often said, small disciplines performed consistently beat occasional intensity. Use this time intentionally. Read financial news. Listen to podcasts or audiobooks that expand your understanding, or study the biographies of those who have built significant wealth. But don't stop at passive consumption. Write down one new insight each day. It could be as simple as recognizing the importance of tracking cash flow or understanding the tax advantages of different investment vehicles. These small notes become your personal library of wisdom, and over months and years, they compound into a rich tapestry of knowledge that guides every decision you make. Remember, wealth isn't just about money. It's about understanding the behaviors, habits, and decisions that allow money to grow. By treating the study of wealth like learning a language, you naturally begin to think differently. You start noticing opportunities others overlook, making decisions with confidence, and avoiding mistakes that come from ignorance. Daily exposure rewires your mind to see abundance, value, and strategy rather than scarcity and short-term gain. And as your understanding deepens, so does your ability to act wisely. The key is consistency. Learning in fits and starts will never create mastery. But 15 minutes every day, committed without fail, compounds like your investments, transforming your awareness, decisions, and ultimately your financial life. Over time, the lessons you collect become instincts, and what once seemed complicated becomes intuitive. Wealth, fluency, is built not overnight, but through daily, deliberate practice. Start today and let your mind become rich before your bank account ever catches up. Wealth is far more than a number in a bank account. It is the sum of who you are becoming as much as what you are earning. Too many people evaluate their financial success solely by their balance sheets, checking accounts, or the latest market gains. But the truth is that money alone never creates true wealth. Wealth is a measure of growth, character, habits, relationships, and the impact you leave behind. If you want to become rich, not just in dollars, but in life, you must learn to audit your days, not just your dollars. Each evening presents a unique opportunity to reflect, measure, and realign, to see whether your daily actions are moving you toward the life you truly desire. This is why I advocate for what I call the evening audit. It is the practice of reviewing your day systematically, ensuring that every hour, every decision, and every investment of energy contributes to your long-term wealth, not just your short-term comfort. The philosophy behind this is simple. Money without growth is often wasted, and growth without reflection is often incomplete. By reviewing both what you've accomplished and what you've learned each day, you create a feedback loop for success. It is a process of continuous self-improvement. When I first started my journey, I noticed that my days often passed with a blur of activity but little progress. I could work tirelessly, yet without reflection. I had no real insight into whether my efforts were moving me forward. Once I began auditing my day each evening, I noticed patterns in my behavior. Some habits propelled me toward wealth, while others quietly drained my energy, time, and resources. The power of the evening audit lies in bringing these patterns into awareness so that you can adjust, adapt, and grow. The strategy is to make this reflection structured and intentional. It is not a casual thought before bed or a fleeting memory. Treat it as a ritual. Each night, take a few minutes to write down 3 things you accomplished that day, no matter how small. These could be financial actions, like making a payment toward your savings goal, or personal victories, like learning a new skill or offering guidance to someone else. Each achievement reminds you that progress is cumulative, that your wealth grows not only through income, but through discipline, learning, and purposeful action. In addition to recognizing accomplishments, capture at least one lesson learned from the day. Perhaps a conversation revealed an insight about negotiation, or a mistake taught you how to manage your time more effectively. These lessons are the currency of wisdom, far more valuable than dollars alone. Practical alignment is equally critical. Review your spending, your investments, and how your actions match the goals you set for yourself. Did your choices today reflect the life you are building, or were they distractions? Did you invest time and money in growth, or did you drift into convenience? When you answer these questions nightly, you train yourself to become aware of both the opportunities you seize and the moments you squander. This awareness compounds over time, shaping behavior that consistently aligns with wealth-building principles. Perhaps most importantly, the evening audit cultivates satisfaction over perfection. Too often, people chase flawless execution, becoming discouraged by what they did not accomplish. But the goal is not perfection, it is progress. By reflecting each evening, you acknowledge your achievements, internalize your lessons, and go to bed with a sense of purpose fulfilled. This practice builds confidence, resilience, and a sense of momentum that carries into the next day. The rich understand that consistent reflection, learning, and alignment create the foundation for sustainable wealth. The money eventually follows, but it is the person you become through daily audits that sustains it. Incorporating the evening audit into your routine transforms the way you approach both life and money. It makes you intentional, accountable, and wise in your decisions. Every night becomes an opportunity to compound not just financial assets, but the wealth of your character, knowledge, and influence. Over months and years, this habit builds an unstoppable force. It's not glamorous, and it doesn't promise instant results, but the cumulative effect is extraordinary. If you want to achieve wealth that lasts, begin with this simple daily habit. Count more than money. Count your wins, your lessons, and your growth. Go to bed satisfied that today you built the life you desire, and wake tomorrow ready to add even more to your legacy. As we reach the close of our time together, I want you to pause for a moment and reflect on what we've discussed. Wealth is never an accident, and success is never a matter of luck. It is the sum total of small, disciplined decisions made consistently over time. Every habit you form, every routine you commit to, and every reflection you take at the end of the day builds the foundation for the life you desire. Too many people chase quick results, hoping that a single decision, a single investment, or a sudden windfall will change their life. But the truth is, wealth is built quietly, patiently, and intentionally. The rich understand this. They don't wait for inspiration. They create it through consistent action. They don't wait for perfect conditions. They start now and adjust as they grow. The routines you practice today, no matter how small, compound into extraordinary results over years. One disciplined morning, one thoughtful reflection at night, one intentional dollar saved or invested, one skill improved or lesson learned. These are the bricks of lasting wealth. Your financial freedom, your security, your ability to give and create impact, all of it begins with what you choose to do consistently. Don't underestimate the power of small steps. Every millionaire you admire began exactly where you are right now, often without money, without connections, and without certainty. What set them apart was that they chose to act differently, to think differently, and to persist when others gave up. They invested in themselves, in knowledge, in systems, in relationships, and in routines that supported their long-term goals. And because they did, the money followed, the freedom followed, the ability to contribute and live fully followed. This is a universal principle. You cannot out-earn your personal growth. To win in wealth, you must first grow in wisdom, discipline, and character. So here is the call to action. Begin today, and I mean today. Take one step, no matter how small, that aligns with the life you want to create. Plan your day, tomorrow, tonight. Protect your first hour. Invest in learning before you invest in spending. Automate savings and review them daily. Surround yourself with people who elevate you. Reflect nightly on your wins and your lessons. Turn fear into motivation, impatience into patience, and distractions into disciplined focus. These are not merely tips. They are the lifestyle of wealth. The question is not whether you can do it. The question is whether you will do it consistently. The rich don't rely on luck. They rely on deliberate action. Remember this. The life you want is built one day at a time. If you do a little more than you did yesterday, if you save a little more, learn a little more, and give a little more, in a few months you will look back and see how far you've come. In a few years, you will look back and realize that you've created freedom, security, and abundance. And eventually, you will become the person who doesn't just have money, but has wealth in every sense of the word, financially, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Wealth that serves you, that supports your family, and that allows you to leave a legacy